Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Master Race Debaters. This week, B Black and I welcome Kenny Robinson, the fabulous Kenny Robinson. Did I say fabulous? I meant fabulous. Kenny Robinson, you've seen on CTV, CBC, every Canadian show he's been on, I believe. Anyway, he's in studio as we talk about Donald Glover's or Childish Gambino's new video, This Is America, and the whitewashing of she, who we shall not say her name. Also, we were talking about being a black comic in Canada, and specifically the Nubian show, and if there's any segregation. Also, in our white tier segment, we're talking about white people's need to call the police. What is up with that? Why you keep calling the police, white people? Put the phone goddamn down. Anyway, here we go.
I'll introduce you in the intro and stuff, Kenny, so don't worry about it. I'm just going to start this timer.
Cool.
All right, so here we are. We're back with another episode of Master Race Debaters. B Black's with me, Kenny Robinson, the fabulous Kenny Robinson, running for... What are you running for, Kenny?
MPP of Mississauga Lakeshore with the brand new upstart party called None of the Above.
Right on.
It's so you, though. None of the above. That's the perfect party. Yes. What's your chances? What do you think?
I'm up against a guy who's been in office for about 25 years. Mm-hmm. So, I'm expecting a sound thrashing come election day. But if I ever want to get into politics, this is like my open mic period of just trying to get on the ballot and all that other stuff.
That's what I was wondering when I saw it. I'm like, are you seriously thinking about getting into politics?
I think I may take a run at that. I mean, comedy's drying up. I'm 60 years old. Mm-hmm. The two things, I've always loved politics from forever. Mm-hmm. I would have loved to have done more political material over the years, but there never really has been much demand for it.
Yeah.
And what demand there has been is if you're not of the right pigmentation and education, not interested in hearing your thoughts or opinions.
I think that's kind of changing, but yeah, it was past past my time. I'm at the end of it, but I think the younger generation is going to get it right pigmentation. 60. Yeah.
So I just turned 60, so I'm that old. I'm that uncle at the barbecue trying to take a kick at one more thing.
Yeah, but I think it would be great if you did politics. I think that'd be awesome. I think that.
Hell yeah. Obama made it possible, man. If Obama could do it, you can too.
Yeah. And more... Go ahead. Sorry.
Obama had, Obama's got the law degree and all that other stuff behind him, but, so...
you don't have a Muslim name.
Yeah, but Roy Moore is a pedophile, so you're good. You're good. You're doing good. You're not. It's like there's
Some of my best friends have been pedophiles, so and if I did win, it wouldn't take long for them to call me the disgraced MPP from Mississauga Lakeshore.
Well, I think that should be your slogan. Some of my best friends have been pedophiles.
I talked to some terrible people trying to get some signatures.
It doesn't matter. You're a politician now. You got to talk to every person, every scumbag, everybody. You got to talk to them.
Absolutely.
So we were going to talk about Donald Glover. Donald Glover came out with that. We were going to actually talk about because a lot of people in the black community had a problem with Donald Glover because he's married to a white woman, and he came out with that. Yeah.
I'm sick of that shit. You know what? Like I read one thing on the internet yesterday that Donald Glover talks about the black woman, this and that, but goes with a white woman, and if a black man goes with a white woman, then he hates his mama. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, well, shit. My father is a black man, married a white woman. So does that mean my father hated his grandmother? And
yeah.
And they never say shit. They never say shit about the poor white girl. Does that mean she hates her daddy if she goes with a black man?
Exactly. She's given up a lot too. Yeah, and especially like your mom's generation. That's like a tough generation to do that in. Back when.
Like I used to do in the act, the whole members of the family moved, never to be seen again.
Yeah, that's
both my mother and my aunt and her sister ran off and married black men. I got uncles and cousins never want to see from us.
Well, I'm married to a white woman, and I'm like, I think it's like this is where I'm. Pardon?
Nice. White women are really nice, though. Really, ain't they?
Yeah, they're very nice. They're very nice. I get a new jacket every Christmas. every winter, I get a new jacket. So why am I going to complain?
They're kind of upfront, according to producer Neil.
Yeah. Well, my thing is like he was like he made that song "This Is America" and it was very it was powerful, it was amazing, and deep and intelligent, and I could be wrong because I'm biased, but I feel like that's a distraction to talk about, like to take away his credit because he's married to a white woman. He was always married to a white woman. Well, not since he was a baby, but he was married before he made the song. I don't know.
Okay. Well, there's always been that. There's always been those women that have an issue, like they say, as soon as a brother gets some money, he's got to run off and go get him Becky. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but they never say the positives. Like, what if you and OJ and you naturally a jealous, murderous type? Then isn't it better that you should slay a Becky than one of your own? They never bring that up in conversation.
I'm sitting with Ron Goldman's parents, by the way, right now. They never talk about the positive sides of that, right? Like you just got saved from a serial killer. Well, he murdered two people.
I say each time you fall in love, it's a shuffle of the cards.
Yeah.
Of who it's going to be. And every time you've fallen out of love, when you fall out of love with somebody, you ain't saying, "Damn, should have stuck within my own." You just say, "Shit, I done fell for the wrong person again."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But this is nothing new. I remember Richard Pryor's little bit when they said, "Why should you be with a white?" Some of the sisters said, "Why should you be with a white woman? Why should you be happy?" So that was going back in the 70s when Pryor said that shit.
Well, it's also like if you because white supremacists, it's an argument that agrees with white supremacists. Like they don't want you to be.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah. That I had a problem with that. Like that's what we're gonna take away from the video. That's what we're gonna distract ourselves from. Like what's, you know what I mean? He's saying something.
Based on what I hear, those comments that he's made about black women, or how, hey, the reason I'm into a white woman, it's because I never met a black woman who was into what I was into. From what I understand, those were old comments. I'm not saying that it disappears, but I'm just saying, one, it's an old comment. We're not sure how he thinks today. Second, the real issue is that how some brothers have used, or some black dudes who ain't shit have used that as an excuse to go after black women. So you see, black chick, because exactly because you don't get your shit together. That's why all these men are against you. Like that's the part that I'm against. Like people use Donald Glover's words from the past to like throw dirt at black women. That's where I would.
Well, your words always come back to bite you in the ass. Doesn't matter, you or somebody else.
Yeah, no, what's that? I'm just saying, like the dudes who ain't shit, who are using that as a here, -1 on black women. Donald Glover confirms all my observation about you. I mean, that's what's wrong. That's the part where
I get that. Like I get where black women would be like, fuck this shit. Like they've been marginalized so much, black women.
Right.
So I get that. I totally get that. I understand that.
Unhappy people who just can't be happy for anyone.
No.
It's like,
well, see, but I also believe it's a bigger part of what circles and in social settings you find yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I won't speak on behalf of you, Gavin, but I think I recall you meeting your lady because she was around the comedy scene.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah, I had given up at that time. I've
meeting a woman.
Yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm done with women at this point, and that's how I met her. So it was like it wasn't like I was searching for anything.
Right.
No, but the point is, she was in the scene where you were, and boom, magic happens, right? So maybe we can say that the problems that we've had of hooking up with a black woman is because there were fewer black women hanging out in the Canadian comedy scene.
In that circle.
Yeah, the Canadian comedy scene, black women. I know that says a lot about. Like that is so on point. The Canadian comedy scene in black women. There was like what, 2 at the time, maybe 2 black women at the time, and both of them were older than me. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Hey, Is it possible? Can we say that maybe in Black Canadian culture, we're more tolerant of white people? Meaning, you can still be black and have a cool white dude as your homeboy, and we'll still consider you as part of the black population. Can we make that assumption?
You don't have the choice, though, right? Like, we're 3% of the population. You're gonna have a cool white dude. Not even cool sometimes.
You can't be Black Canadian and not and hate white people.
No,
I mean, you can hate them, but you got to be able to navigate through that hate. You know what I mean?
Fuck, that's got to be difficult.
You better keep that hatred to yourself. You have to whisper in your sleep. You can't yell that shit out.
Scream it into a pillow. Everyone
say it out loud. I'm black and I'm proud, like James Brown. You gotta say, "Hey, I'm black and I'm not that bad." Really. It's a whole different kind of vibe here, you know?
Yeah. So it's speaking of white women, I came off tour and then I saw that Nicole Arbor, I don't even want to give her press, but she did a remix of the Childish Gambino song, This Is America. Yeah. And she did, it's about white women feminism. I think she has lyrics about like, getting older in Hollywood and shit like this fucking bitch.
Well, face it. I mean, for somebody that's dependent on their looks for a majority of their career, she's feeling that she's an older looking white woman now in Hollywood. So she's feeling, her tears are real.
Yeah, no, I believe they're real. They're just unimportant. We don't need them. I don't need to hear people are getting shot.
With tears on some French fries, but they're tears.
They're very salty. Yeah, I saw this and my immediate emotion was hate. Just hate. Sorry?
No, hate. Yeah, I couldn't go for the video. I couldn't.
No, did you?
The first 3 seconds, I know where this is going.
Yeah. You know it's going. Well,
I reposted it this morning. As soon as I seen it, I shared it with the internet because all the other female comics in this country despise her, and they have so much hate, they just start to foam at the mouth. So, I just said, let me start some shit and put this up there so people can start losing their minds before lunchtime.
Hey, you got a political career to promote, dude, so do what you got to do, man.
On this lovely Mother's Day. Let them foam at the mouth.
To get votes.
Hey, let me start the rumor. Kenny's banging Nicole Arbor, man. Fuck it. It starts here.
She would never go with me. I'm too light-skinned and too old and too fat. No, you got to be like,
You want her to be like, no, that never happened. We want that airtime. Fuck it.
You want her to say it didn't happen? Is that what you're saying? You want her to go, it didn't happen? This is Canadian politics, dude. I don't think you understand. There's nothing controversial. It's all about getting your sandwich at the, the deli. That's as controversial as it gets in Canadian politics.
Oh yeah, no. There's, I'd be I'd be better off, if her and I actually got into a battle or something, But I mean, I'll give the girl credit. She's got her thumb on the pulse of what upsets everybody, and I mean, if she was ever at a plane crash and the victim, she would touch the burns and go, "Does this hurt?" And let me see it. Tell me now, because I mean, her last thing she did, and now this, and then the fat people, and then whatever. And she just touches. She can find them sore spots better than anybody.
I went to the YouTube the video that's posted, and it's more down likes, more down votes, and the comments are disabled. I don't know if it's good for her anymore. Like I think she's gonna get controversy because she was on The View for that fat people stuff, and they shit on her. They made her look so stupid. But she was on The View. I guess if you're a narcissist, this is a dream.
Right.
I don't know.
But I mean, I knew one female comic from England. She thought that Whoopi and Joy were the meanest bitches in the world for picking on a poor comedian, just trying to do some material. And what have men been telling fat women jokes forever, and nobody's picking on them on The View, and blah 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 blah. So, but she got to be on The View. I've been doing this shit 40 years, and Whoopi ain't gonna say anything to me. Hi, Whoopi. Just look at me like, So I mean,
keep it moving.
Her point, she gets out there.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like it's a replacement for talent. Really, it's shock and shock and anger people as a it's very childish. Like we live in childish times. It's like
what's the name of the artist that made the original?
Yeah, Childish. Oh yeah,
Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
So that'd be Childish
Nicole Arbor. Well, I mean, people. She got on the Root, man. She's on the cover of the Root, front page of the Root.
They call her unseasoned talent.
Yeah, fuck. Like a chicken. Someone's made a comment about that. Yeah, she's like unseasoned chicken. It's just like is this video form of unseasoned chicken. I don't know. B, did you see it? Were you upset?
I think she was hoeing for attention, and she got it. Like this is probably the white women equivalent of slavery was a choice. Well, attention wise.
Okay, so yeah, but Kenny, is this like the White Guys Matter show? Do you think it's like on that level? Is it that kind of thing?
No, the White Guys Matter. They were just trying to sell tickets. Nobody said anything racist, homophobic, sexist. You know, Now Magazine asked me my opinion, and I told them, any alt-right types going are going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were just trying to sell tickets. And for Nicole, she ain't trying to sell tickets, but every time she gets a click on Facebook, one of the advertisers, add another $30 or $13 or whatever she gets for her.
Yeah, she's making some good money
for her, for her page.
Well,
I mean, she spent money. She, had a casting thing to go get herself a black woman that was breastfeeding and all the other stuff that she had in it.
Yeah.
So, I'll give her credit for that.
It's like blockbusting.
Magical video.
It's like blockbusting.
Right?
It's like blockbusting. They used to real estate developers during, I guess, when they were trying to get white flight trying to chase white people out of the inner city. They would hire black women to walk up and down the block with a stroller to scare white people out of their homes. So it's kind of reminiscent of that.
Well, see, when I grew up in Chicago, when the neighborhoods were changing, as they called it, white folks had signs on the lawn said, "This is our home, and it is not for sale."
Yeah, because they were trying. Yeah, the real estate developers were trying to get them the fuck out of there, just trying to get some land. Do you think it's more okay? The speaking of Now Magazine, we talked about this. I got more irate at Now Magazine than the White Guys Matter tour because Now Magazine did an article about it and didn't include any fucking black people at all. And I got into a fight with the journalist, and she was basically like, "Oh well, why aren't you mad at Aaron Berg and them?" I'm like, "Well, you did worse. You kind of did the same thing by trying to take a movement of black people." And trying to sell newspapers or try to advertise other shows, but you have outrage behind yours.
And you didn't ask anybody who might be offended or not offended by it that would, have it. Like, I didn't get too riled up for it because 10 months ago, the radio station I advertised the Nubian show with, they wouldn't allow me to use the slogan "Black Lives Matter." So I jumped on that. I tried to roll that. 10 months ago, a year ago, and they said, "No, you won't." I said, "Okay." And I thought Black Lives Matter was a wonderful thing, but I'm sure somebody could have found fault with it.
Why wouldn't they let you use that? That seems weird.
Because they felt Black Lives Matter was so important that I couldn't be parodizing it and trying to capitalize or roll off it, same as these other guys did with White Lives Matter.
And this is Flow, right? This is Flow.
Is the Move.
Okay.
Yeah. One of them stations, Move or G or one of them. I forget who I was with them, but they said, and I went, okay. And I went, damn, such a good slogan. And I said, well, what you did is you took a political party and you made it a slogan. I said, yeah, okay, right. So, I didn't get upset with them because, we've had car rides from gigs and talk about boys that ain't on that show. That's some racist motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's the problem. I guess with like this Nicole Arbor thing is people are just. I think there's a lot of people upset with like, oh, another thing of mine being taken. I think there's an attitude of that.
It's like white people are looking. How can we fuck this shit up? I know. I'll do an acoustic cover of it.
But I mean, like it's not new. It's something that we should be used to. There's no way to. It's like you weatherproof your house. You can't white-proof your shit. There's always gonna be someone taking your shit. Like it's not new. It's not a new thing. Honestly, it's Elvis. It's old as shit, and she's gonna make money off of it.
Good, man.
Yeah,
it's even minstrel.
Yeah,
those old minstrel shows when they put on blackface to take it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I understand why people get mad when every time they read a poll and every poll says that Eminem is the greatest rapper ever.
Yeah.
Or every time I hear somebody say that, I mean, I used to lose my mind and get rabies if somebody ever tried to name any white guitarist as being better than Jimi Hendrix.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I started cussing them and calling them every name, I started naming everybody that influenced Hendrix.
Yeah.
So, I mean, too bad Prince had to die for some people to realize he could play fucking guitar.
Well, that's the thing, right? Yeah, like I was thinking about Prince. I was just thinking about Prince when you were talking about that, because like they it's not only just Eric Clapton or whoever is the best guitarist, but then Prince is when they talk about like Prince, they're like, well, he did this, he was more about this, and they diminish the ability of the man. Like they always diminish the ability,
until he did that tribute to George Harrison with Harrison's son and Tom Petty and everybody else standing there while he just did his voodoo while his guitar gently cried,
Yeah, man, that was amazing. I love that. Yeah, so this is our second segment. We're talking about, like, I feel in Canada, in the comedy scene, there is segregation. Nobody really talks about it, but I feel there is, like, Jay Martin, you have the Nubian show. A lot of your comics play all sides, but there's really not a lot of black headlining comics touring all the clubs. I mean, you got Tricks and you got a few people. I mean, there's some great comics. I'm not trying to dismiss that. I'm just saying it feels like we have a place, like black comics have a place, and I don't really play too many black rooms, but black comics have a place and white comics have a place, and never the two shall meet completely.
Hey,
I feel though in one sense you might be right, but in the other sense I feel that we're dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I was just
a dominant comic. John Paul is a dominating comic. Chris Robinson is a big money award-winning dominating comic.
Well, this is why it becomes something, right? This is why I'm saying it's segregated, because of what you just said. If it was like, oh, we're just shitty comics, then I wouldn't say anything. But that's the only reason I'm saying it feels segregated is because the comics are good. Percentage wise, am I right or am I wrong?
About segregated?
Yeah.
No, I think if anything, the Nubians are 23 years, so we've gone from say 3 in the country total. Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 total, from across the board. We got Sterling Scott out there in Edmonton kicking his shit out of the West, and big things going to happen for him. And he hooked up with Kevin Hart's company, and something's going to be done with them.
Yeah.
The women are coming up now. Aisha Brown. I mean, she's serious as hell. She's writing and she's doing other stuff. Aisha, she went down to L.A. originally from Winnipeg, but I mean, so even the women are kicking it. Sabrina, she was doing her Black Girls when Black Girls Speak, and then and that was another channel for them to come through. Tamara Siobhan, she's another strong sister coming up. So I think more than anything, it's gonna be the 60s for black comedy, because they're gonna say, damn, there isn't just Motown, but there's also Stax. Well, I think we're bringing it.
Yeah, I think like you said, Aisha Brown and people like that, Alan Shane Lewis. I think there's a diversity in voice with these comics too, right? Like they're talking about different stuff, a whole bunch of different stuff. They're very skilled and they're very good. I don't mean. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I don't mean like, oh, there's not a force coming up. I mean the opportunities for this force. Are they? Maybe I don't see it. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm lonely in the clubs, and I'm just like this. You know what I mean?
That's your age, dude.
Like I
looking for Mr. Mo and he ain't there.
Yeah, I'm trying. I try to throw bones to any. I always try to throw bones to like a black comic when I go on the road. I always try to do that, right? Because I want to get them started to go and do stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Sorry.
I mean, look at our girl, Dana Alexander. She's traveling the world. She's playing in Singapore. Now, perfect example. Last year, we did Just for Laughs came to the Nubian show. We sent 5 people to Just for Laughs from that showcase.
Yeah.
I got another JSL showcase at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't send 6, I'm going to be disappointed in the, I always refer to the Nubian as the movement or the program. And, the white folks would kind of grab their knapsacks and walk away from where I was sitting.
Yeah.
Movement. Shit, we better leave this. These dudes are going to get on stage and shoot folks pretty soon, So, so I mean, it is happening, but I mean, from being 0 to, to being way more. Uh-huh. But, yeah, I mean, we're out there everywhere, but I mean, and it's growing.
Yeah.
So it's,
I think we got the talent is definitely here, but but no one's really thinking about Black Canadians when you say Canadian comedy. Is that probably a similar way of saying what you're thinking?
Well, I think nobody's thinking of Canadian comedy.
Yeah.
That's it. It's true. When you think of comedy, if you ask me my top 5 comics, I'm naming a whole bunch of Americans. Even though the Black Canadian comics have made me laugh out loud, has said shit that I can connect to, I can relate to, but yet I'm going to give you a bunch of American names. It's weird like that.
Yeah,
because they're the dominant nation of talent and entertainment.
And they also started stand up.
Yeah, you said want to go to Hollywood,
right?
So no one's saying, well, shit, man. If I could get, we said I'm moving to Montreal, so I'll just be there when the festival opens. I mean, it's. And when you think of it, how many people even have a name that matters in this country?
Nobody does.
You got Jerry D.
Yeah.
You got Jerry D. My boy Ron James.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he goes and does those theaters, and they all love him. And then, of course, I was in South Africa, and somebody told some young woman that, who I knew, and he says, I am very proud to meet the friend of Russell Peters. I'm going, shit. Come here, look at my phone. You know what that is? That's Russell Peters' phone number, baby girl. That's Russell Peters' phone number.
That's what you have. That is my fame too. I just dropped it like I was, hanging out with Russell, and then who? Russell who? Bill Cosby's brother.
Or if I'm dying on stage, Russell Peters bought me these jeans. So then, we love you. We love Russell.
Every show you say Russell Peters bought me these jeans. Every show you're on, you say Russell Peters bought me these jeans, regardless of the pants you're wearing.
Good evening, thank you. Like the jeans? These are from Russell Peters. Have 6 years, thank you.
He must be good. He's wearing his pants. So you're seeing the progression then. You're seeing like doors are opening. I mean, maybe you're seeing more. You're seeing more comics coming up, but you're seeing.
And I'm seeing them because that's been my. I guess it's been my legacy for the last 20 few years. Mm-hmm. Because I'm still trying to bring it along. To me, it's still and I'm sad because I know I'm told I'm too old for this, I'm too old for that. So, I've never done the Halifax Comedy Fest. I may not get to the mountaintop.
Mm-hmm. Of Halifax?
If you ain't had it, it's the mountaintop.
Yeah, no,
when everybody else got a festival, you didn't get it. It seems like the best thing in the world.
And then you go there and you're like, what the fuck was I stressing about this whole time?
But also, I've had comics fly in from doing the Halifax Festival in time to do the Nubian show on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's many times I feel like the old blues musicians that say, yeah, I knew that boy, but he wasn't Jimmy back then. He was James. So,
yeah.
So it's so like when I see something like what Sterling's doing, or I see that like Keith Pedro. I mean, he's Filipino, but I mean, when we started this, I had to grab everybody of every color. Everybody became a nigger when I had to start this.
Well, we didn't have much choice. It's Canada. It's Canadian show business. You got to be in the pile or else you're nothing.
Hey, speaking as a fan, when I saw like that one year, I think the Nubian show used to travel from city to city, or at least used to come to Ottawa on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
And that
we tried to bring it there, yeah.
And that one year you didn't come down, I was pissed. Like, it was like, fuck, where am I going to get my dose of, I got to go back to hearing comics brag about how wonderful it is to be white. You know what I mean? I want to hear shit that I can relate to. But I'm just saying, what about the aspect that, like, comedy is subjective, and maybe it's because the audience that really appreciate that kind of comedy just don't make enough there's not enough of us to so that you can become, millionaires or shit like that.
I mean, we are a minority in this country, but a minority in this country is really a minority as opposed to, I mean, look at the kings of comedy. I mean, all four of those cats are big, and they knew they couldn't ever be as big alone as they were together. And those dudes were filling out hockey arenas.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. You put them together.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'm listening to both of you.
You got more black people in Cleveland than you got in all of Ontario. So if you just go to Cleveland, Ohio, you got your numbers. Never mind if you go into Cincinnati, Dayton, and anywhere else in Ohio.
But it's also the assumption that your voice or your story or your perspective isn't universal. Like to say, because these stories and your voice are. Just because it's your story and your voice, and yes, black people probably would relate to it more, it doesn't mean it's not universal. I mean, we have the internet now. People are connected more than ever, right? Like, the assumption that let's say, Trix kills a white crowds more than a lot of white comics. Like, he can play these small town places like you wouldn't believe. Like... Yeah. To say that the voice, you did, Kenny, too. You went on the road early on when there wasn't internet.
I tamed the West.
Yeah, exactly. I don't go to Alberta anymore. That's you tame the West. I don't go to Alberta. But that's what I'm saying. It's like the assumption that that someone's saying, "Oh, nobody wants to hear your voice," or "We can't sell your voice." Is like, well, that's bullshit too. I think we're in a unique position as comics that we're in a dominantly white industry that we have to learn to translate our voice to be more universal.
Did that 20 years ago when Rolling Stone had a comedy whole comedy issue. Chris Rock said that the black comedian has to be the superior comedian because he has to not only be funny, he has to cross over into the dominant race or the dominant culture and be considered funny.
Yeah.
So it's like, my father told me this when I was a kid. I imagine your father did too, and his father did too. You just can't be as good as the white boy next to you. You have to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I look at the crew and the talent that we've got coming up and we've put out, I think we've passed that. We've done that.
Yeah.
And that's always been behind in my. I mean, when I first started doing this thing, I thought, like, man, there are so many lame boys working. I want my crew to start taking their jobs.
And they get mad. They get so mad. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Some said, I want them to take their jobs. And, that's like. That's like when when they were marching and they said the Jews will not replace us. I went on stage at night and said the Jews have replaced me.
The Chris Rock point is great because Chris Rock warms up in like old retirement home Jewish places before he does specials. That's how he does his warm up. He warms up in the he puts himself in the worst fucking position to make sure that material is so goddamn strong.
Wow.
But Chris came up at a point when, there really wasn't a black comedy scene. It was like, if you're going to be a comic, you better get there and be a comic. I mean, he probably studied Woody Allen as much as he studied Richard Pryor.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah.
That's because he's a student of the art form.
Mm-hmm. That's the advantage we have here. We also have the Canadian voice, where like a lot of us are first generation Canadians, and it's such a unique voice. Like I grew up in Scarborough, and a lot of comics grew up. Like Russell grew up in Brampton, but a lot of comics grew up in that kind of environment where you had like Filipino friends, Italian friends, black friends, Trinidadian. Like you had everybody around you, and that's such a unique voice that's only Canadian. It's only Canadian.
Oh.
And
the whole concept of I mean the one thing that really took over and shot it big was West Indian flavor of the Canadian urban scene. The fact that we have so many people from the different islands. Remember, there's one point in the Nubian show, if you didn't have patois, you were a dead man walking.
Yes, I remember the stress every week, every month. The stress.
I just started dropping the phrase "bun and cheese" just to laugh.
I don't know how many people had a cow cod soup joke, but there was a lot of cow cod soups.
But no, you did. White folks call their dog this and that. West Indians call it dog.
Yeah.
Or you did the bit about did you name the whole leg if you get shot? Somebody got shot in his foot.
It was the whole foot.
So you took your grandparents' conversation pieces and dropped it out there, and the audience related to it, and that was the beauty of it.
Yeah. The Nubian show for me, it was a very stressful show. Because it is your people, right? And then, at the same time, we had, Will Smith going down there. And you had, Jamie Foxx coming through. And you had, celebrities coming through all the time. It was very stressful. And I didn't even care about the celebrities.
On the other night.
Pardon?
The celebs didn't come to the other shows.
No, they didn't. They didn't. And I wasn't even stressed about the celebrities. I was stressed about the audience. And, but if you killed...
Some nights.
Yeah. Yeah. If you killed, it was amazing. But if you...
but I think that's what made us better, though, because if your shit wasn't right, they tore you up. But if they loved you, when they start doing the... And then when brothers start leaping out of their seats. The nights when dudes was hitting their heads on the ceiling, leaping from their chairs?
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a more beautiful thing in comedy than seeing that crowd when they were losing their shit.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Although the waitresses didn't like them too much. No tips.
Yeah, well, after 400 years of slavery, don't be
preach. Can I tell you about the first time I've ever seen you on stage? Might have been on TV. Real quick. So before, I grew up with black dudes who were like DJ Khaled. You know what I mean? Refused to go down on women, and it was like blasphemy to actually to be a black man and go down on women. And the first time you went on stage, you bragged about that shit. And it blew my mind. And I remember seeing on stage and going, wow, now there's a free black man.
All right, I'm gonna wrap it up on that one, guys. This is good. It's gonna be an easy edit for me. I don't think I'm gonna edit out much. But this has been a good one. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you. I'm going to go masturbate and listen to Cole video now. All right, good talking to you guys.
I'll talk to you later. Bye, man.
Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. If you are, do me a favor. Go to iTunes right now. Leave a comment. Leave a rating. It'll help us out so much. Hey, also, if you want to follow us on social media, that'd be great. You can follow us on Twitter at MRD Podcast, on Facebook at Master Race Debaters, and on Instagram at MRD Podcast. We're also on YouTube. If you had comments and suggestions or just want to drop us and say, hey, fuck you guys, you can email us at masterrdpodcast@gmail.com. Yes, we'll take your emails. We'll respond. Trust me. We got nothing better to do. Anyway, here we go. Without further ado, me and B Black getting back into it.
Can I tell you this? I am so uncomfortable having this conversation. And that's what this woman said before this, because I know what's in my heart. And I know that I don't think anyone is different, better, or worse based on the color of their skin. But I feel like there is nothing any of us can say right now without being judged.
Yeah, so I just, this week, we've seen a lot of white people calling police on black people. Mainly white women, again, calling the police on... Fucking
the one in Oakland, or what are we talking about? There's Yale, there's the Airbnb one.
Yeah, you name it. You pick one. You pick. There's the Oakland one is the barbecue, right? She sat on the phone for an hour, 2 hours, and then when the cops showed up, she started crying.
She felt like a victim.
Why do these Beckys become middle management so quickly? They just sorry.
I'm sure if we talk to a shrink, there's a good explanation to why they're like that. But this lady, I saw this dude once. This guy was parked in front of a fire hydrant, and he could see it from the balcony, right?
Yeah.
And he just said, "Hey, buddy, you better move your car. I'm calling the bylaw officers on him."
Oh fuck!
I I know. I'm like, because he says, because if the fire truck comes in, you're in the way. Like, I'm assuming if the dude is parked in front of a fire hydrant, he plans on doing an in and out.
Yeah.
Shit like that. But he was like, and the guy just handled it calmly. Just, he just moved his car. But I would have put it.
But why is it even the dude's problem? Like, if you park your car in front of a fire hydrant, you're getting towed. That, like me, I would. Right. Yeah, like I said, I live beside a pot dispensary. I'm not very happy about it. I don't like people hanging out in front because I don't want to look like a ghetto bullshit fucking shithole place or people just white dudes hanging out all front. And they park in front and try to do a run in and run out. I'm like, hey, just park down the street. But I won't call people. I'm like, park down the street or don't stand in front of my house. Stand over there. And I'm not rude either. I'm like, hey, do you mind going?
Yeah. You're a homeowner now.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it's easier to deal with that than but like this woman called, the one in Oakland called the police because she believed they weren't allowed to use charcoal barbecue, but they were in a charcoal designated area, and she was on the phone with
business lady. Mind you, have you ever had the cops called on you?
I've had airport security called on me, and no, I've had the cops called. But like it would be like a family event or something, and then they call the police, and we're like, "What the fuck?" And I've always been in a situation with like adults or other people, where the cops have been involved for that kind of bullshit. Have you?
Yeah, I mean, me, it's to the point. I want to say that it's gotten to the point that I can sense, like, I'm the black guy you want in your group because I can sense when a white person's about to call the police officer.
Oh, you're like Aquaman? You can like just sense.
That's my superpower.
There's a tremor. There's a tremor in the force. There's a white person picking up a phone. A white person's picking up a phone. I can sense it.
I usually identify that person and try to say, hey, just feel him out, that person out. Say, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Hey.
Oh, you're the white whisperer.
But once I get the silent treatment or whatever that we're not close to, folks, we got to get out to calm the car. Either we got to get out or get your law degree ready because we're about to hear some shit.
Get your law, break the window, in case of emergency, break glass, and they break the picture of their law degree on the wall and take it down. I did it. I was in the mall near my house, and these black kids were getting harassed by a black security guard. And I was like, guys, just keep going. Don't engage. Don't fight with him. Just keep going. And I'm like, at the same time, I feel kind of Uncle Ruckus, but at the same time, I'm like, this is the best. Like, you're not going to win this fight because you're teenagers.
Yep.
You're not going to win this, and I'm just like, don't. It's not your fault. You're not at risk. Just don't fight with it. Don't engage with this man. Keep walking.
Don't give him a reason to put you in the system.
Right, and I was engaging with dude because I'm older. He's not going to do shit. I'm like, what do they do? Why are you harassing them? Just leave him alone and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, he wouldn't let it go. So I was like, just keep walking. And then the guys look at me like, what? And it's like, okay.
You did your dude.
I did what I had to do. And I'm not going to sit there and be like, yeah, I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah. I hear that, man. I hear that. I've had, what about this scenario? And I've been thinking about it. Maybe I'm making it bigger than it actually is. But I remember this might have been junior high. But I was young enough to be stupid enough to think that I can take my brother's, not his bank card, but back in the days, before bank cards, we had little booklets for the bank if you want to take money out from your bank.
You had to go right in there.
You had to write in there.
Yeah, you had to walk into the bank and they would yeah.
So my brother and I, we had an agreement. Hey, I'm going to take money out from your account. I'm going to use your booklet. Okay, and that's cool. Like, we had an agreement, right? But we were stupid enough to not realize that's illegal. So I show up to the bank with my brother's booklet and say, I would like to take money out from my brother's account. Not from my brother. I'd like to take money out from this account. Now, I'm not sure if I told her he's my brother or if I'm taking money out from someone else's account, but whatever. But at least, I don't know. I guess some like wisdom of, hey, you can't do that. You need a signature. Yo, this chick says, okay. Tells me to sit down. We're gonna handle this. Next thing you know, police officer arrives.
Well,
dude, I'm like pissed in my pants. Like, I may have tried to look tough, but I was like freaking out because I was the good kid back then, right? Stayed out of trouble, whatever.
Yeah.
Shows out, and it's funny is that towards the end, he realized there was no case. So he basically tried to justify why he had to show up. He's like, well, we don't know. For all we know, you have your brother duct tape in a basement somewhere, and you stole this shit from him, and now you're trying to take money out of his account.
Your brother duct tape in a basement. Who is this? Like a Harley Quinn novel writer? Like you have your brother duct tape in a basement.
My whole head was exploding about all these crazy scenarios to why the cops had to intervene in this situation. All I know is ever since then I've been paranoid about white people and their quickness to call law enforcement.
Well,
hey, we cool. Dog.
Well, like the Airbnb thing too. Like the women were supposed to wave. They're like, well, they didn't wave, and the owner of the Airbnb is like, they should have waved.
He should have waved.
I got into a lot of arguments online about that. Like, well, they should have. I had a dude tell me that it wasn't racism because they didn't mention race in any of the articles. And then I posted how the lawyer for the women were said that the woman who called 911, there was 4 people. One of them was white, 3 were black. And when she called 911, she said there was 3 suspicious black people.
Yeah,
that's racism. But they need the evidence and the. Well, why didn't they wave? Why didn't they wave? Like it's like why don't it's you like in your situation with the cops? It's like that's the thing. It's like you can't afford to make mistakes. Like if my parents found out about that with that with that book, I would have been in so much shit. I would have been in so much shit because like right reading that Ta-Nehisi book. I forget the name of it, but he talks about that, his parents, getting beat by your parents because their anxiety and their fear of their child being murdered by the police. So you have to keep them in check. So you impose some sort of some sort of like corporal punishment on them. So they are, it's very interesting. It's but white people. I'm at the point now where I believe they know the system and they know they're in charge and they know when they call the police, they know what they're doing. I really do because I to use the threat of the police to get what you want is how could you not?
Yeah.
How could you not? You know why you're calling the police. You're not calling the police for any law. You're calling it to keep shit in order.
Well, and these guys are a definite threat to this law and order.
Yeah, well, the barbecue, right? Like they're using charcoal, or they're sitting in Starbucks, or they're I posted something on my Facebook. I'm just trying to pull it up about this. Okay, so this woman posted Miss Kelly M. Hayes. That's her Twitter handle. As someone who's been pleading with folks to stop calling 911 over every little thing for years, I just want to make sure we're completely real about something in the current dialogue. Calling cops over every little thing is a gentrification tactic. And calling the police over every little thing is not about fear or ignorance. It's about control. It's a means of enforcing unofficial segregation and supposedly abolished racial hierarchies. Police don't enforce law; they enforce social norms. Gentrifiers who chronically call police aren't concerned with safety. They want to dictate social norms and conditions. They want control, and they know what it would mean to call. They are simply prioritizing their own power. So the idea that they don't know what world they're living in, the idea and you add these things up, with the Trump election and the study they did about how people. We talked about it, how more people voted for Trump because of fear of white power being lost.
Yeah. Their status.
Right, their status being lost. And then so they know the status. That woman calling, she saw black people and she's like, oh, fuck this shit. They ain't, that's all that.
Put them in the place. Yo, it's like that Karen Swan line. Officer, overseer. No, when he mixed the two. Yeah,
overseer.
He put the two words. Two things. Yo, so what you're saying? It's like that tradition of calling the overseer on the slave. Yeah. Still hasn't changed.
And so when they say it, they act like they're innocent, or like the dude defending. Oh, this is not about race. It's not about race. Of course it is. Of course it is. You know it is. It's well. Then when do we get to call the police? Remember that dude walking around Walmart with a BB gun he was going to buy from Walmart, and they took him down. They killed him. The cops came in and shot him.
I forgot his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor bastard thought he was free. Yeah, he thought he was. He was one of them.
Yeah, well, even like just simple mistakes, simple goddamn mistakes. You know, someone called the cops on Tamir Rice.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah. I remember that line from, and it doesn't apply. That line in The Godfather. It was considered. I'm sure it's misogynistic now, but there's a line where he goes, "Women and children can afford to be careless, not men. Men can't afford to be careless." I think it's the other way. It's more privileged people can afford to be careless.
Yeah.
The rest of us,
No,
we can't make those kind of fucking mistakes.
Let me ask you, what should white people do? Because what I'm also noticing, like I don't think we give enough credit. You do more than me, I think, on this podcast. But there's a lot of white people who are woke now. There's a lot of ones who are like calling this shit out. I find I don't have to fight as much on Facebook, and that's right. I know it seems like I do, but I think there's a lot of white people who are like just like fuck this shit. Like I just had a friend I sent my friend the Nicole Arbor video, and he just like fucking I hate white people. And it's just like there's a lot of white people, but what could they do? Because we got white people listening to this show. What could they do? Do you think to stop other white people? Like, should we have like a smack the phone out of your hand technique? Like,
oh no, I think there's a psychological aspect to it, and it goes back to a very first conversation where I told you one of the reasons I can't watch what's that movie called, that the monkey one there with the gorillas,
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, right? Planet of the Apes. I am convinced there are white people, when they see a black person, they don't see human being. They see a subspecies of human being. So, like, those people might actually need to see a shrink. And the best thing you could probably do is point them out. Like, just because they're not going to admit to themselves that, yeah, when I see a black person, I see a monkey. They just act that way. They just treat that person not like a human being.
Well,
like,
they just assume they're better. They just
whatever, but they don't, like, it's an irrational behavior around those people, these people. So that's why group of black people together, gotta call the cops.
Yeah,
there's a threat. They're having fun, call the cops. They're they're about to riot. Like, they're expecting the worst out of these people than anything else.
Is the group like the looking at a group of black people, for I guess for some white people is very. I used to have this joke about The Walking Dead and why I stopped watching. It was like because they could never have more than 3 black people on the show. It was they always had to kill one. As soon as they introduced another one in the cast, I'm like, oh, someone's going. And I was like, I used to do this joke about, oh my god, a pack of zombies is coming towards them. I'm like, watch out! Look, there's 3 guys playing 3-on-3. It's just like, yeah, 3 black guys playing 3-on-3. I forget how the joke goes exactly. Is there like I guess there's a fear of a loss of power when there's a group. There's a fear of, and that feeling doesn't feel good. Like that feeling is, I need to take control again of my life. There's an anxiety of seeing a lot of black people together for them. And it's like, I need to take control of that, this moment again.
I think there's also white people who are like, look, if had I gone through what black people have gone through, I would kill white people. Like, they see it that way, and they're constantly worried that's what, like, black people are plotting.
I mean, your theory and my theory kind of mold together, right? Like, it's it's the fear of a group of them, and it's an irrational fear. It's also, yes, if they would do this, blah, 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 and they're criminalized in the news and blah, blah. These are just core criminal people. And yes, and I think maybe deep down, I think a lot of them don't have an investment in the history of it, because if they did, they like just imagine if you realize that you're doing the same thing that you fucking some horrible people in the past did, and you continue to do it, and you just, oh my god, you know what I mean? You would try to break the cycle if you actually knew, if you can intellectually see it and go, oh my god, I got to break this cycle. I don't think a lot of people consciously think like your theory. I don't think is a conscious thing. I think it's more subconscious. But I think there's a conscious. Just above that is oh my god, I feel a loss of power. I feel like there's too many people, and let me call in the people I need that make me feel powerful again. and that's the cops.
So I like how we're trying to what's that word? We're trying to
analyze.
We're trying to guess how white people think.
Yeah, well, we gotta know. We gotta know the enemy, man. It's like basketball teams or sports teams watch the game tapes. We're watching game tapes. This whole podcast is watching game tapes on racism.
What's that? There's this dude at my work. He's another big dude, and I notice how the similarity in our personalities, and it's in a sense that him and I will talk together, right? Mm-hmm. But as soon as we see a white person pass by, we're like, "Hey, how's it going?" You know, especially if we know him, you make sure to acknowledge him, say hi, and make sure that he sees that we're happy. We're not like, fuck these crackers, man. I swear, you motherfucker, give me a chat. No, we're always, hey, how you doing? Nice weather we're having, eh? And so like out of our way for him to see that we're having a good time.
You know what's even worse? If you guys start laughing with each other and without the white guy in it, if you guys were laughing with each other, that's even worse.
Sure, that's even worse. Yo, we both speak French, but whatever language he's speaking, we're speaking that language.
You better
hey, we want you to understand we're not talking about you.
Yeah, just make sure, just so you know. But that goes back to way back when. That goes way back. That is like everyone's like, it's in the past. Everyone talks about it's in the past, but we're still living in the past. We're all dealing with race trauma. That's what it is. We haven't developed from this. It's all trauma. We're all dealing. Everyone, black, white, everybody's dealing with trauma.
You gotcha. Yeah. PTSD.
PTSD, man. Like seriously, it's like someone that grew up with a narcissist parent, right? They don't really develop it, and this is what happened. Anyway, I think we solved that.
We did. Yeah.
So white people we need the white smack phones out of hands. Like if you're a white person, you're hanging out with a white person, and they're gonna call cops on someone, just smack their phone out of their hand.
The 911, the 911 operation be like, really? Come on, lady, really? You're wasting our time for this shit.
They need to start charging these people. All right, well, fine. Now you're under arrest, or here's a ticket. Here's like a